Look at
Yeah,
that.
so apparently it's decided that it doesn't want to function.
Did you get Facebook?
Oh, look at that. We're live. Okay.
Y'all, I can't with him.
Hey, listen, be nice, okay? I'm slowly but surely learning how to do this stuff. Um,
You're the one that's supposed to be technologically like advanced because like when I need you to come fix my lights because they're not connecting correctly.
yeah, I don't know how to help you with your lights. Your lights are something else.
You know what? I figured it out on my own. So thanks, but no thanks. However, Siri sometimes, like if I'm real tired, she understands me perfectly. But if I'm wide awake, she doesn't get it.
She doesn't understand Brandon at all.
Like I'll be like, "Hey, turn the living room to 20%," and she's like, "Turn it off." Like that's not what I said, Siri. And then Brandon,
Simple instructions, woman.
right?
Simple instructions.
Right? And then other times, like we'll be sitting there just watching TV, and then she's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't understand that," and I'm like, "Nobody's talking to you. Stop butting into conversations." She's terrible. Push back. There we go.
Look, we got some more viewers on the TikToks. So,
Hello.
folks, again, welcome back to Crayon Box Weekly. I'm your host, Carl, and I'm joined by Vanessa. Vanessa, I stole your thunder today on the second round. I apologize for that.
No, you don't.
You're right. I don't at all.
Sorry, not sorry. It's fine.
Um, so, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this week in politics, and there has been quite a bit that has occurred in the political spectrum. And one of the biggest things that has happened this week, specifically, was um, the fact that the United States is officially at war with Iran.
Yes.
Um, Now, there's been a lot of discussion around whether or not we should have done this thing or not. But the reality is that
It's
it's
done.
really complicated,
Yeah.
and it's a nuanced thing. Now, personally, do I think that we should have gone to war with that country? Probably not in the way that we did. Um, but do I think that that country's leadership needed to get toppled? Absolutely, right? Like there's the right way of doing things, and then there's the wrong way of doing things. And the
Yeah.
wrong way is the president circumventing Congress and going to war against a foreign nation without any legal jurisprudence whatsoever. So there was no consent of Congress. There was no consent of the people. No one said yes, let's go to war. Iran did not pose a direct threat to the United States. There was no direct national security cause aside from what the president claims that there was, because we had bombed them literally last year.
Yeah, I was gonna say, weren't we
And
bombing them last year?
say what?
We bombed them last year too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
And so it's like if we bombed them last year and that was supposed to knock out their nuclear capability, and now we're sitting here and we've decided, hey, you know what? We're going to bomb them again. But not only are we going to bomb them, but we're actually going to go full on war with them. Um, hey, we got restricted on TikTok because some of our themes may be uncomfortable um, for certain audiences.
Is it my TikTok that does it every
You
time?
know, I don't think it is because we're going through like the TikTok actual process.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Perry Jones, thank you for joining. Keep watching. If you have something to throw in, please by all means throw your
Comment.
comments in the comment section. Vanessa will make sure that we call them out. I got a bingo. That's a great name. Um,
Bingo.
Over on the Facebook, we don't have anyone watching us, and it doesn't look like we have anyone watching on YouTube either. Either way, so here's my take on it. It was another one of those things that we did in bad faith that was a good thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it does.
it's like I'm gonna go out and
I can
I'm
see
trying to
the
figure out how to put this delicately, right? So, say in this instance, right? Like someone is bullying my 5-year-old daughter, right?
yeah.
And not I don't have a 5-year-old daughter, but someone is bullying my 5-year-old daughter, and they're an adult, and I go out and I whoop their ass, right? Like
Rightfully
it
so.
was the right thing to do because I taught that person a lesson.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was the wrong thing to do because it was not the legal way of doing things.
I mean, listen, you can't compare it to like a 5-year-old. If a grown ass person is bullying a 5-year-old, they deserve their ass whooped. Like they're 5. Like grow up. Like just
Right,
say
and I get that, and so I guess I'm using the wrong the wrong ages. The point is that if I go to defend someone extrajudicially,
mhm.
then one, I'm doing the right thing, kind of, because it's standing up for family, but at the same time, I'm violating the law, therefore it's wrong,
Yeah. Yeah. I
right?
mean, I get it. It's just I think that, I mean, this isn't the first time that we've had conflicts with Iran. We had them, I mean, years back I think it was what, the 70s and stuff. We had conflict with them as well. So I think it's just one of those things that it's always going to be around and there's always going to be conflict between us and them for whatever reason. And I think that it's just going to we've tried talking through things and working it out that way. It seems to not work. So now we're just like, hey, this is what we're doing now. Whether it was, in everybody's mind, whether you see it as that it was right or wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, we've tried multiple different avenues that have not worked. So I think that, violence isn't the answer, but sometimes it's the solution. And I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but I don't, and I mean, I don't know.
So
See, you don't know what to say either.
well, it's not that I don't know what to say. See, here's the thing, right? Like we have to understand historical references and historical things. Like you brought up the fact that we needed to talk about um, that we've tried in the past and that we've had differing relations with Iran in the past. Well, the reality is that the United States kind of created the Iran that we know now. And folks, if you're watching this and I'm pissing you off, by all means, throw your opinion in the comments. We will definitely talk to you about it. But here's the thing, right? The United States fostered and ignited a coup that overthrew a democratically elected um, leader of Iran. All because that democratically elected leader was socialist minded and friendly to the USSR at the time. So what did we do? We overthrew his ass and we put in the Shah. We reinstated the Shah of Iran, right? And the Shah of Iran was a douchebag. He was an absolute terrible individual. And so what he did is, as soon as he got power, even though he was friendly with the United States and Western powers, this man decided to start pushing for genocidal actions against his own people. And the United States and the Western nations turned a blind eye to it,
Yeah.
which resulted in another popular uprising, which caused the Shah to be deposed again, which reinstated which instated the regime that we know now, which is the theocratic regime with the supreme Ayatollah. Now, here's the piece of that, right? Is the Ayatollah was actually supported by the United States
Hmm.
until he wasn't.
Right. We like you till we don't.
Um, and then because the Ayatollah went against us, we decided that the Ayatollah is bad.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, guess what the Ayatollah did? He started attacking his own people. He actually conducted war actions against Iraq. And the United States funded both sides of that fucking war.
We seem to fund a lot of things. Like
We keep doing this thing where we get into messes.
Yeah.
And so, long story short, right? We pissed the people of Iran off to the point where they took hostages at a college, an American university. We used CIA operatives to manipulate their government, to manipulate the way that they do business in Iran, in order to make them more friendly to us. And we put a situation into effect that created a nation that doesn't like us because we've demonstrated that we are willing to go so far as to mess with their country in order to achieve the things that we want.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, when you really look at it and you look at it from a holistic point of view, right? Everything that has led up to today has been driven by the United States.
Right.
Now, I'll be the first one to say I didn't think we were going to invade. I didn't think that we were going to attack them, largely because of the fact that I didn't think that our allies, the Saudi Arabian kingdom, and the Kingdom of Bahrain and the Emirates that are down on the edge of the Arabian Peninsula, I didn't think that any of them would want us to go in and attack Iran because they didn't want an unstable neighbor, but they also didn't want a pro-West neighbor, right? So that, like, those are the things, right? What happens to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia if Iran becomes Trump team? Hey, Trump team, if you are watching, please drop a comment in the chat and let me know why you are Trump team. Let's have this conversation right now. Let's go.
Just divert.
Sorry, I want to engage. But the long story short here, right? And what I'm looking at is we are now in day 3 of our attack on Iran. We have killed, reportedly, Ayatollah Khomeini, which is great. It's a good thing, right? I'm so glad that motherfucker is dead, and I hope to God that he rots in hell for all of eternity. But now what?
Yeah, but I mean, it just like afterwards, like I know that I was watching, like we attacked Iran with Israel, and then Iran retaliated against Israel, and then they, hit U.S. military bases in Bahrain and everything. And I think there's three U.S. military service member deaths associated with it right now, and some that are severely injured. So, like, I feel like it was a necessary thing, and I'm not one to say, because there are people out there like, oh, here goes the US again, and they make their comments about it. And I understand that. But at the end of the day, if you say that it's not necessary and it's not needed and everything, then it just means that anybody who died for this, it was a meaningless death. And I don't think anybody's life is a meaningless death. So I think that there's a meaning to everything.
Okay, so here's my response to that. Right? Donald Trump, the president of the United States, came out and said, we are at war with Iran and good people are going to die.
Yeah.
Right? So if anyone's watched Shrek, right, when...
Donkey!
No, more specifically, Lord Farquaad, right? Right?
That little man?
The little guy. He got out in front of people and he said, some of you may die, and that is a sacrifice that I am willing to make.
The fact that you're referencing it from Shrek is fantastic. Like, I support this wholeheartedly.
So I can't take credit for this because of the fact that I've seen this pop up everywhere, and there's been comparisons to the way that Trump gave his speech to the American people and that movie that have been popping up all over the place. I am not the originator of that. I
Oh,
just think that it is classic and
listen,
it's
just
a good comparison.
take the credit. Take the
I
credit. Just
I,
say that it was
mm,
you.
I wish. But someone else also noted that if you say Lord Farquaad really quick, it sounds like Lord Fuckwad. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think, I might just go ahead and start calling President Trump President Fuckwad, um, just for the sake of it. But the fact of the matter is, we have a draft dodging President Bone Spurs Fuckwad who has decided that it is completely okay that some people may die in a war that we didn't need to start in the first place. Right? Like, I can say that the war in Afghanistan was justified because Afghanistan attacked us.
Right.
Okay, I get that, right? Now we can have a long, drawn out conversation about how Afghanistan came to be the cesspool that it is. Oh,
Mhm.
by the way, international relations comment here. Pakistan declared war on Afghanistan.
Wait. Okay. All right. I mean,
Yeah, so we have Pakistan going to war against the Taliban in Afghanistan. We have the United States and Israel attacking Iran. We
so
have
it's always the Middle East. Like always the Middle East. Like, do you think that Pakistan would have declared war had the conflict with between Iran and the U.S. and Israel didn't start?
So I don't know. I don't know the answer to this one, and I don't know the answer to this one because I wasn't watching Pakistan and Afghanistan. So I
Right.
don't know what happened there.
Yeah,
All
I
I know
don't.
is that I'm sitting there yesterday and I'm minding my own business, right? Because I'm trying to not get hyper focused on the war because in war there's this thing called the fog of war, and when it comes to news that is coming out, I try not to hyper focus on it because you never know what's right. Like, there
Yeah.
were reports of Khomeini dying early yesterday.
Right. And you don't know if that's true or
No
not.
clue. And
Right. Well,
before they could even confirm it, Donald Trump was coming out and saying, "No, we got him. We killed him." Like,
well, yeah,
listen,
but we also did the same thing with Bin Laden. I mean, how many times did Bin Laden die? And we're like, oh, he's dead. We got him. And it's like,
this is
did we?
true.
Did
This
we?
is true. One of the chats that I'm in, some one of the veterans goes, "It's giving me Michael Myers vibes." Um,
He just keeps coming back.
he just won't stay dead, man.
Right.
But yeah, no, I had not looked at it, but I'm sitting there minding my own business, and this thing just floats onto my screen saying, "Oh, Pakistan. By the way, Pakistan and Afghanistan are now at war." And I'm
Um,
like,
we
"Listen."
do have a comment. They said, what about Ukraine?
So that's a good question, right? And something else that came across my screen yesterday was that Russia had instituted a ceasefire in vicinity of the Zaporizhia nuclear power facility, because the fighting had gotten so bad in that region that it had actually cut off power, external power to the nuclear power facility, which was on the verge of going into nuclear meltdown. So,
Ooh.
good news out of Ukraine is that Russia finally was like, yeah, you know what? We don't want this. Let's back off and allow people in there to fix this thing so it doesn't go bad.
Yeah, because
Um,
it was bad for everybody involved, all over.
right. But to your point, I don't drippy.
I tried. I tried.
So
Drippy salad?
Drippy, I don't know how to say your name. I'm just going to go with Drippy. If that's okay, give me a thumbs up. But to your question, I have not heard anything about Romania and Poland. I will say, cool, Drippy. I will say that from my understanding of the situation and the way that things are playing out, I don't think that Romania and Poland are next per se, because of the fact that Russia has demonstrated in Ukraine that it is not capable of doing anything more than limited operations. Their initial invasion into Ukraine was a mess. They lost a lot of people. They're actually at this point being accused of uh, conducting human trafficking and taking
Oh,
people from their homes in low income countries in Asia and Africa, and then taking them out and putting them on the front lines and saying, you will fight or you will die. So I think that Poland and Romania are safe for the time being. On top of that, I don't think that Europe will go for any more action or hostile action on the Russian front.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, Drippy, I don't think that that's something that's in the cards this year. Although those are things that we should always keep an eye on and be aware of. So thank you for bringing that topic up.
Yeah.
Um, so I think what we might see with Iran is that Donald Trump is going to decide, you know what, we went in, we took out the leadership, and now it's up to the people. That seems to be the messaging that they're kind of pushing right now, is that they want to have the uprising, and that we went in to attack them for the sole purpose of taking out the leadership and allowing for the uprising to occur.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that, like everybody, even Einstein said it was, that peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. And I mean, yes, it can't be taken by force. But it's almost like when we try to do the communication and that doesn't work and things can escalate really fast, it's kind of like you do a little bit of force, but then you go back in with the communication to even it all out. I just, I don't think, honestly, I don't think any country should have nuclear weapons. I think those are the worst things that were ever invented. And I just, I don't know. I think nuclear is, I just don't think that that's something because all it takes is one person that says, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to launch it. And then, oh, who else is going to launch it? And then we're all dead. Like, what does this achieve? What does it achieve to have this weapon of literally mass destruction? Nothing. It it's basically like it's kind of like saying, "Hey, like my dick's bigger than yours because I have this. What do you have?" And then they're like, "Oh, well, hey, look, mine's growing too." And it's like at the end of the day, I mean, if we go and do a nuclear war, we're all dead. Like all dead.
Right, and so that was the calculus that was made by leadership, so many years ago when we established nuclear weapons. Right, it was the United States used it and went, oh shit, these are bad, um, and was like, you know what, no one else should use these, but we used them,
I don't
and
think we knew, like, to be honest, I don't think they knew the extent that it was until we dropped it. But then again, we dropped a second one. Like, we knew, like,
in quick succession.
yeah,
Um,
that's true. That's true.
and to be fair, the bombs that we dropped, the nuclear bombs that we dropped, weren't nearly as bad as the incendiary bombs that we dropped on Tokyo, um, where we dropped these bombs that produced incendiary bomblets that filtered out from an altitude and landed on these wooden homes that made up the predominance of the structures in Tokyo and burned the city to the ground, and burned a lot of people alive. So, I mean, we kind of did a lot of bad things back then. But what I'll say is that the reason that the nuclear thing has occurred is that what we saw is that these things were bad. And then we said, if we have nuclear weapons and Russia gets nuclear weapons, then that means that Russia and the United States will never go to war with one another because of mutually assured destruction. Drippy, to your point, the point of wars is wars happen when politics break down. It happens when diplomacy is no longer functioning and when people stop talking. And so at the end of the day, it's just an extension of politics. I think we would all love to just go to school and like make our art and make podcasts and talk about things and shoot the shit. But at the end of the day, these are just these are things that happen just because we don't agree.
Yeah.
Um, and it's one of those things that we wish we could get rid of them, but they exist anyways.
Yeah.
What I want to do is I want to reel this back in, and I want to talk about the actual the structure that exists with regards to the United States and the United States going to war. Because we talked about this back earlier in the year when we invaded Venezuela and imported a Venezuelan into the United States to prosecute, as we're trying to export people.
Yeah. we do things backwards. It's fine.
Makes no sense. But here's the thing, right? There are three, the first three articles of the Constitution apply to what, Vanessa?
The first three articles?
Yes.
Those aren't the amendments, are they?
No.
And I don't know.
Okay, so Article 1 deals with the legislative branch. Article 2 deals with the executive branch, and Article 3 deals with the judicial branch.
Oh, okay.
Each one of those articles lists out specific requirements, responsibilities, and limit lines for what each one of those branches are supposed to do.
Right, like the checks and balances.
Right. So Congress has the authority, is the only body that has the authority to declare war. President doesn't have the authority to declare war. Now, they did pass the War Powers Act, right, which gives the president a little bit more leeway. And I personally, I think that we should be looking at the War Powers Act and changing it a little bit, because I do not think that the president should have carte blanche authority to go in and attack in an offensive manner any nation that he or she chooses to do just because they have deemed them a national security threat.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, like, when we can sit here and think about, why did we do this? What was it? We are never going to know the 100% of the reasoning behind it. Like, they'll give us tidbits because there are some that are, top secret. They're not going to release it if they're TSI security. Like, they're not going to release those reasonings why. We can speculate all we want to, but they're not going to release all their juicy tidbits, let's per se. So we're never going to know the full extent as to what caused everything to happen the way it happened.
Okay, so I'm going to pause you right there. Here's as an intelligence Marine, and as someone who has held a TS
That's like
clearance,
oxymoron.
Listen, I can tell you right now that there is more information on the unclassified side of the house, so on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube, than there is on the top secret side of the house. So, I mean, to say that we will never know the reason, that's fine. If there is a top secret justification, that's fine. But there is a branch of our government that has the authority and the wherewithal and the requirement to know what that reason is. Because the president doesn't just get to say, oh, we're going to war. He has to go to Congress.
Yeah. Now, has Congress said that we're at war? Have they declared the war?
No, there is no official declaration of war. Okay. So under the War Powers Act, the president has 60 days to get the explicit approval from Congress to continue the war.
Gotcha.
If within that 60 days he does not get explicit approval from Congress, we're done.
Yeah.
Right? And that means implicit as well. But here's the thing, like there's a catch to that, right? The Justice Department, the judicial branch has determined that implicit allowances or implicit approval can be seen in the form of the Congress approving budgets that include monetary support for war. So if, go ahead, Drippy, drop your question.
Because Carl's still talking.
But absolutely. So, and I'll get to that in a second, Drippy. Let me finish my thought here. Here's the piece of the puzzle that's really important, is that Implicit approval includes Congress continuing to fund, right? So not leveraging the power of the purse in order to prevent further continuation of conflict. Um, but here's the aspect that's important is that we have a Republican Congress that is dominated by we have a Republican House and a Republican Senate.
Hmm.
Um, they have indicated that they have no desire to really stand up against the president in many of his policies. We have a Congress that has demonstrated time and time again their willingness to take a back seat to presidential policy. Um, we have a Congress that is willing to accept uh, a plausible deniability stance so that they can attack the president for making bad decisions so that they don't have to make decisions that are bad or would go against them, all for the sake of remaining in office. And so, what they're counting on is the American people not paying attention. What they're counting on is that the American people are not going to pay attention to what's going on so that Congress can pull back and allow the president to do whatever he wants without
Hmm.
actually getting approval from Congress. Um, but what I've seen as a result of this attack in Iran is that the Gang of Eight, like the top members of Congress, have all been informed, or they were informed prior to, but the legal ramifications were shaky. There was there is no international legal basis for this attack. So once again, just like Venezuela, we have violated international law. Um, and so at the end of the day, what we have is a situation where Congress needs to get off of its ass and it needs to stand up to the president. But we also have a situation where the news media, the mainstream news media, um, is doing this thing where they're talking about Congress's limited war powers. No, no, no. The president has limited war powers. Congress has all the war powers.
Right.
Congress has the power of the purse. Congress has the declaration of war powers. The president doesn't have any of that. So, what I think is going to happen is I think that now that Khomeini is dead, and because we're talking about wanting to have the head cut off of the snake and allow the protesters to go in and overthrow their government, I think that what we're going to see is that the United States starts to pull back, just like we did in Venezuela. And I think that we are going to see the United States pulling back and allowing for Iran to do its thing and become a failed state. This is a beneficial thing both for Israel, because a failed Iran state is no longer capable of funding terrorist organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah, but it's also a positive thing for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, because a failed Iranian state means that they aren't going to be producing oil in competition with the Saudi Arabian government.
Yeah.
To your question, Drippy, your first question, yes, I do fundamentally think that there are going to be an escalatory number of strikes in the Gulf countries, Qatar, as well as the United States. I think that it is highly plausible that we could see sleeper organizations popping up and conducting attacks. If we don't see them popping up and conducting attacks, we could very well see law enforcement actions on those sleeper organizations.
Yep.
I caveat that with our Department of Homeland Security has been so focused on deporting undocumented immigrants that we have really taken away from their ability to investigate those types of organizations.
Yeah.
So, do I think that there are going to be attacks? Absolutely. Drippy, to your second question, and folks, if you're watching this on any of the other platforms, Drippy is someone that's commenting on TikTok. Super kudos to you, Drippy. I appreciate your interaction. But to your second question, do I think Turkey is going to get attacked? I think it's fair game, and I think that we could see these attacks occurring regardless of the country, as long as there's a soft target that they can attack. Although I don't think Turkey is going to be a direct victim of any type of attacks, because of the fact that Turkey is kind of doing their own thing, right? Like they're pro Russia, they're pro the United States. They were against ISIS in Iran, but they're also anti-Kurd in Syria. So it's one of those weird situations where I don't think Turkey is necessarily a primary target, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in other news, there was rumors going around that President Trump was mulling the idea of issuing an executive order giving him the authority to take over elections in the United States for the
Like,
midterms.
what do you mean take over?
Right. So right now there is no real detail that's coming out of this. I have not read the leaked memo, but all the reviews that I've seen of individuals, like learned individuals, legal scholars who have read the memo, is that the president is going to try to use leverages like or levers of power like the Defense Production Act, the Emergency Economic Act, and there's a few others that go into this, and he's going to use those in order to use executive authority to take control of the national voting process and ensure that things get done per executive order. Here's the problem, right? We talked about those first three articles, right? Which articles discuss elections?
Are you asking me this question?
I am.
Oh shit. 26.
And I'm asking you because you and I actually had this conversation last year.
I know. You think that I would remember? Shit. It's Article 26.
Article 1.
Oh Jesus,
right?
that was way off.
The Congress is the only branch of the federal government that has any say in how in managing the election process. And it's not they can like take control of it. The Congress can't do that, but Congress can provide measures that kind of limit, hey, we can apply a federal regulation requiring that all federal voting requires a voter ID that demonstrates proof of citizenship, right? Like that is something that Congress can do, but there is zero authority in Article 2, which is the president, the article that talks about the executive order. There is zero authority given to the president. And so for the president to come in and be like, oh, I'm signing an executive order, now I'm taking control. Listen, not how this works.
Like you can't sign it. Does he know the Constitution? Like, honest to God, like not being funny, but like he does a lot of things that are not in our Constitution, that are not in his scope of his realm. Like we talked about it last week. If you're gonna be in Congress, in the House, want to be president, whatever it is, I really think that you need to take a course on the Constitution and pass this course so that you know what your role is and what you are allowed and what you are not allowed to do based upon the Constitution that has been, 250 years? Like, come on, like, take a moment and read it. I mean, to be fair, that I don't know the Constitution that well. I can't quote like you can. You can quote all of them and like, oh, in this article and this thing and this amendment and this blah blah blah. I can't. But if I'm also not a president, I'm also not a Congress member. I have no desire to be a Congress member. But if you are a Congress member, that should be the first thing you do is take a course on the Constitution and go from there. And if you can't pass this course, you should not be allowed into politics.
So I really wish I knew you were going to say that because we've got clips of where I talk about the president and the fact that he swore an oath to the Constitution and doesn't know how the fuck it works, right? He doesn't even know what it said. And so here's another interesting tidbit, right?
We love tidbits.
during Trump 1.0, while I was still an Intel Marine, um, there the requirement for the presidential briefings became less and less about um, actual like reading because the president didn't like to read, and his intel briefings became shorter and shorter and shorter because the president wanted pictures.
Like a kid's book.
Like a kid's book, right? I've become more and more like inclined to believe that the president just didn't know how to read. I don't think he does. I don't
No,
think he has. And if he does know how to read, his reading comprehension level is well below that of the average American.
oh yeah, I mean, reading comprehension, like you can read something, and if you can't comprehend what you're reading, I mean, you're not really reading, are you? You're just, it's just words at that point if you're not sure what you're reading. I
Yep.
think that I, you know, that he has people that tell him what's in there. Like as the president, I don't believe that he reads everything. I really don't. I don't think that he reads every bill that's passed. I don't believe that or anything that he's signing. I think that he has a slew of people that say, "Hey, this is what this is. This is in this," which is to me, it's a bad thing. Like if you're gonna vote on something and you're gonna put it in as an order or anything like that, like you really need to understand what it is that you're putting in there. And you may have people that are, oh, let's say they might be biased. Like we don't have those in our, country, but they're like, oh, this supports, this person, but it doesn't support this person. So I'm going to leave this portion out and only tell them this portion. So I think that in there lies the issue is that, some people don't give the full story. They give parts of a story and then they think that they're completely educated on the entire story when in fact they've gotten a small portion of it and they're missing the larger piece.
And it doesn't help that you're getting pictures, right? Um,
Like pictures. Like,
so
can I get a pop up? Can you show me the pop up? Like, what's gonna happen?
to be clear, the presidential briefings are required to be given to the president directly, right? There's no aide that reads them first. It's nothing like that. Like what happens is members of the intelligence community will actually go and present their analysis to the president, or the information will get put into a binder that will be put on the president's desk for a daily read, and that's just kind of how things worked. I know that one of my own personal pieces of analyses got put in a binder for President Obama to read. Um, so that's how that process works, right? But I don't know. I just so, the way that he does things, I don't think that he knows what the Constitution says. I think that he just listens to what people say that the Constitution says and goes with it. I think that he has decided, you know what, screw the fucking norms. I'm going to try whatever I can. I'm going to throw noodles at a wall, and whatever sticks, sticks. And that's not how historic executive branches have worked.
Right. Right. Well, yeah. I think that I think he's trying to do things that he said he wanted to do, and that that was the reason why he was elected was to, do this. And he doesn't want to be like other presidents where, I said I wanted to do this, but I ended up not. I got in office and I didn't do anything as to what I said I was going to do when you elected me. I think that everything that he has said about what he wanted to do while he was, if he was voted in as president, I think that he has um, went that way to get it. But like I've said before, I think sometimes his execution of things is absolutely absurd. I think it's a great idea, poor execution. And that's been seen multiple times with many different things. And I mean, we've talked about it. I think that he didn't want to be considered a liar about, hey, this is what I told you I would do when I got elected. I think he wanted to show that, hey, I did it. Like this is, I put an executive order in, even if the executive order was not supporting the Constitution or anything like that. He still is saying, hey, well, I tried. They cut me down, but it's like you can't just. I don't know. I think that he just kind of he oversteps a lot because I truly don't believe that he knows the ins and outs of politics like you should if you are going to run this country. And I think that's you'll find that in most of Congress. I mean, I think it was when I was growing up, most congressmen and like the Senate and everything, they were lawyers. They were people that have studied the Constitution, have, did all that stuff. And now it seems like it's been pulled back and there's not a, you don't have to have a law degree to be a Congress member.
You've never had to have a law degree to be a Congress member.
I feel like you should. Like you should know the laws of our country.
I would disagree with you wholeheartedly. I think that the way that okay, so let me throw this out there, right? If we only allow individuals with law degrees to become elected officials in Congress, that means that there is a limited pool by which we can have of folks who can actually be a part of the governing party of our, or the governing class of our United States. The United States is created so that the people are the governing class. Everyone is part of the governing class. So everyone should be allowed to run for office. In addition to that, Ronald Reagan, he was an actor before he became president. And while he made a lot of fuck ups, right? Like, he wasn't that great. The reality is that Ronald fucking Reagan is a far better president than motivated Donald J. Trump. I think that Bill Clinton, speaking of, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton had their behind closed doors hearing before the House Oversight Committee with regards to the Epstein files this week.
Oh, closed doors. Always closed doors with them.
Well, here's the thing, right? The president didn't want, not the president, the former president and and his wife, they didn't want to have closed door hearings. They wanted to do it in front of the people. They were willing to come down to Congress and sit in an open hearing and talk to the Republican majority who was going to grill them on the Epstein files.
Yeah, they wanted transparency, basically.
Yep. And Comer, who is the head of the oversight committee, said, no, we're not going to do that. And so what they did is they taped it and they had them come in. Initially, the Clintons said, no, we're not going to do that because of the fact that what you're going to do is you're going to intentionally cut things out of the hearing that we say, and you're going to use those things in order to make it look like something else happened. And so what they wanted was full transparency in front of the public.
Yeah.
Well, they finally gave in and said, we're going to go ahead and do this so that you can stop attacking us. And that was Wednesday, Thursday of this past week. Can I ask you a question, Vanessa?
Wednesday or Thursday?
Without looking at your calendar, when was the State of the Union address?
Thursday. It was Wednesday then.
It was Tuesday. This past Tuesday. It was this past Tuesday.
Why did I get Thursday? Thursday's
I don't.
It's because it starts with a T. Okay.
Okay, well, I'll give you that one.
Right.
But the crazy thing is that like it feels like the State of the Union address was so many years ago. Literally.
Well, I just like he knew all this stuff was coming up. Like, why don't we talk about that? Like, why wasn't that brought up at the State of the Union to be like, hey, this is what's going on, this is what's coming up, all that stuff, instead of, let's give all these people medals and hoorahs and let's clap and stand ovation and like act like we're at church.
Because the Constitution requires the president, Article 1, Article 2 of the Constitution requires the president to provide a message to Congress on the State of the Union once every year,
That's it.
right?
I feel like
And that
he does it a lot more than once a year.
there is no requirement for the president to give a speech to Congress. There's no requirement for the president to get up and bully pulpit. All he has to do is provide a report. So all he has to do really is write a written report to the Congress.
Gotcha.
President Trump has viewed these things as another method of him getting in front of the people and having rallies. And that's what it is. I mean, long story short, that's what it was to him. So he wasn't there to tell Congress how the union is. He was there to rally people to his side. He saw it as a political rally, a political function, rather than an actual duty and a job to report to Congress the state of the nation.
Gotcha.
Which is why he didn't bring any of that stuff up. Now, he did mention Iran. He did mention Israel. He mentioned that the voter ID issue, right, and pushed for the passage of the SAVE Act, which, by the way, is going to get derailed because of the fact that he decided that he's going to launch a war, an unprovoked war on a sovereign nation,
right,
called Iran. Right now, again, I go back to they're bad, right? I can say that Iran is bad and should have been taken out. At the same time, say that I don't agree with the way that we fucking did it.
Right. So this, I'm totally about to like derail it just a little bit. Not for anything, but I was curious. So I'm listening to his State of the Union thing with you. And he said, this is the 250th anniversary of the US for 2026. But I remember that in November of 2025, I went to the Marine Corps' 250th anniversary. So the Marine Corps was established before we were America? Okay. Huh. Okay.
Yes. So the United States Marine Corps, the United States Army, and the United States Navy were created by Continental Congress in order to fight the Revolutionary War. So it happened prior to the official establishment of the United Nations, the United States, as its own independent sovereign nation. At that time, we were still in insurgency, fighting against an overbearing, autocratic ruling nation called Great Britain, who, by the way, are doing more about their officials that are on the Epstein files than the United States is. But that's not American politics. Are you changing your light over there? Look at you.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't like it. It made me look orange like I was like an Oompa Loompa.
Like you were Donald Trump?
I like to say Oompa Loompa. I like to make fun of people. Oompa Loompas aren't real people. And if they are, I'm so sorry, Oompa Loompas.
Oompa Loompa lives matter.
We should make that. That's going to be my t-shirt. I'm going to wear it next week. Oompa Loompas lives matter.
And I don't say that to take away from the Black Lives Matter movement, folks. I'm not saying that at all. I'm using that because it is yeah.
Oh, look at you. You went serious with it.
We're going to lose some followers.
We're not going to lose followers. Here's the thing. Like, we don't take away from anything. I think that in the US, there is a lot of things that happen, and people take offense to anything. I feel like anything, no matter what anybody says, somebody is going to find it offensive. And if you find it offensive, that was not our agenda, was to offend you. I am a jokester. I joke a lot. I do all that. Carl knows I'm his best friend, so there's sometimes I say something to him and he's like, what did you just say? And I'm like, so please don't take offense to anything that comes out of my mouth, or Carl's mouth. It's just more or less like we sometimes we joke and it's not always politically correct.
Right. And to be fair, like I fit into that whole like First Amendment. We all have the First Amendment right to say whatever we want.
Yeah.
But there are consequences to the things that we say. So if I offended you, I apologize. But please don't unfollow us just because I offended you. Talk to me. Let me know about that so that I can make sure that I change. And I
And if
think
you want
that's
me to punch him in the face, I can definitely do that. I'll do it right here on TikTok. I'll just punch him right in the and throat punch him.
and that's the difference I think between where I stand on freedom of speech and where um, most MAGA patriots stand on freedom of speech. Right? MAGA patriots think that you should be able to say the N word without getting any type of repercussions. I
That is
think that
not appropriate.
I'm going to say what I have to say, and if I offend someone, I expect that you're going to talk to me about it so that we can alleviate the issue, and I can make sure that I don't say that offensive thing again.
Oh,
Um,
look at you. He's a big softy, guys. Big
It's called
softy.
learning.
Oh, learning has it too.
Learning.
Whee! With the rainbow.
But at the end of the day, right? So I keep saying at the end of the day, what I see here and what I see going on is that we have an executive branch that is continuously getting itself more and more power, and it's not just the Trump administration.
Mhm.
But the Trump administration is demonstrating what happens when the executive branch um, tries to leverage all of the tools in its toolbox um, in a manner to assert authority over everything that is government. I think that the American people's failure to understand that the president is not the leader of our country, that he is just a figurehead, is a problem. I think that the American people's failure to understand and hold accountable our representatives who are sitting in Congress is a problem. I think that interviewing and talking to people and politicians who say money is the problem, we need to get money out of politics. Listen, I agree with you. We need to get money out of politics. But if the fucking American people, you and me, actually
Mhm.
paid the fuck attention to what the fuck was going on, we could hold our members accountable,
Right. Right.
right?
So let me ask you,
Vanessa, when is primary election day here in our glorious state of North Carolina?
why do you always put me on the spot? The election's in October or in November. So
That's
I'm going,
general.
yeah, I know. It's fine. I'm going to say it is in April.
March 3rd
Oh, in two days.
on Tuesday.
Not gonna make it. I'm just
Uh,
kidding.
you
I'm just kidding. Look at this, guys. He's gonna kill me.
no, no, don't say that out loud because now when you like if you were to die tomorrow, everyone's like, "Oh, Carl did it." Goodness.
Well, listen, he really won't. I mean, if somebody takes that literally, I mean, sorry, Bestie.
I
You're on
am
you're on
not
the
part
list.
of the Clinton Foundation. I do not have the capability or the willingness to make people just die on a whim.
All right, that's true.
Um,
That's true. But, okay, so let me ask you this. Do you think that the executive branch has stretched its limits because the other two branches are not doing their job?
yes,
Okay. That's what I
yes.
was thinking too, is because the other ones aren't doing their job, so they're gonna push it as far as they can because nothing's happening. And I mean, like we've said, I think how many years has it been since Congress has actually passed a budget? They just
It's
extend budgets.
because it's easier that way.
I understand that, but that's not their job. Their
I
job is to pass a budget,
and
not extend
who
budget.
failed to hold them accountable?
We did as a people. I know. I know. We just keep them going in. I know. And I get it. I get it. It's just, but at the same time, can you honestly say, like, I didn't realize that? I'll be honest, I didn't realize that Congress was not passing budgets. I thought that I didn't know that they were just extending it. And you would know how many years it's been since they've actually physically passed a budget. It's been a long time.
Um, yeah, I haven't counted the number of years because it has been ongoing since Obama won, maybe even Bush too.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, that's crazy. So, if you're not as an American people, if we're not informed that they're not passing a budget and they're just extending the budget that's already been passed, like I'm throwing out a number, don't chastise me if it's wrong. 12 years ago. Okay, so they passed the budget 12 years ago, let's say. And they're supposed to pass the budget, what is it, yearly? They pass the budget. So if you haven't passed the budget since 12 years ago and you're just extending the budget, how do we as the people know that you haven't passed the budget?
You don't.
Exactly. So therefore, if we don't know that, then how do we know how to vote them out?
So let me rephrase it. You don't because they're not telling you.
Right.
You also don't because you're choosing not to be active in participating in the process. So for example, the budget gets hung like every other bill on congress.gov. Every single bill gets hung on congress.gov. And eventually, hopefully by the middle of this month, the archivist will be active and running, so you'll be able to actually go to the archivist and pull this information in a manner that is easy for you and me to understand, so that you don't have to go to congress.gov and figure out how to speak legalese in order to understand what is being said.
Legalese, is that the correct term? Legalese.
There's actually, legalese is a real term.
Okay. I thought you were just throwing it out there.
No, it really is. Hang on, let me Google this.
Yeah, you better Google it, because if you're wrong, I'm gonna call you out. Because there's not very often that you're wrong, but when you're wrong, you're wrong.
Legalese is the formal and technical language of legal documents that is often hard to understand.
Good.
Directly from Oxford Languages.
Nice. So just so that, people, if they haven't tuned in before, the archivist is actually something that Carl has created, to where you can go in and it's like a play-by-play of, how many, like who the representative is, how many bills that they have voted on, how many missed votes they've had. And you can actually see it's almost like a scorecard type thing. You can see what bills that Congress has coming up, what ones are getting voted on, who's voted, who hasn't. It's really easy to go through and see all that information. So we will be dropping it when it goes live, whenever he has it done. And we will drop that so that you guys can actually go in and look at your representative and see, because, there's no reason that a representative should miss 10% of the votes. Like I think North Carolina's representative.
Looking at you, Greg Murphy.
I know. Yeah. You have missed 10% of the votes. Like you didn't vote. Like that's terrible. And you're representing us. So, if we voted you in, and we can quickly vote you out with the information. But I had no idea he was missing that many votes. And, if I was at work and only losing 10% of my job, or not doing 10% of my job, I don't think I'd have a job anymore.
Right. I mean, the best way to put it into layman's terms is, if you work at McDonald's, you miss 10% of your hours that are slotted, or your shifts.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be able to continue to work at McDonald's? The answer is no.
Yep.
Right? Like, absolutely not. Like, you're fired.
Yeah, and that's in the job you were hired for. Bye.
But that's what we, the American people, need to look at, right? And we talk about, politics needs to be pulled out. What does politics do? Or, I mean, what does money do for politics? All money does is buy ad dollars.
Yeah.
And ad dollars allows for politicians to lie to the people. But if we have an informed electorate that can see through the lies, all of a sudden money isn't the biggest problem. All of a sudden, the candidates and the incumbents are the biggest problem. And they need to make sure that their record speaks for itself. And failure to do so is what is going to cost them their job, not whether or not that they can kowtow to the rich individuals.
Yeah. Well,
right?
I mean, we've always said that, Congress, I mean, it's so corrupt, and it's so they don't support the people that voted them in. They support basically their supporters and who's behind them and what business is funding them or giving them money or whatever, because they go in and they make I'm throwing out a number. They make $140,000 a year as a congressman. And then you're telling me in 5 years you're coming out a multimillionaire, there's a problem. Therein lies the problem. You should not be coming out making that much money. Like, that's absurd. And that just comes from, tech companies, different things like that. They're like, hey, this bill's coming out. I'll support you if you don't vote for this, and I will give you X amount of dollars or whatever. And that to me is corruption in its finest. And it seems to be the way of our government is, if we can buy your vote, we're going to buy your vote, and that should not ever be the scope of things. And
So interesting that you bring up the corruption, right? You know of the American Israeli Political Action Committee, right?
yes.
So that is the big Israeli donor that goes around and spends money on candidates.
Hmm.
There is an organization or a website called trackapac.com, and it's TRACKAIPAC.com. And it gives you a detailed list of the candidates and how much money they've been given by members of APAC and APAC related donors. Um, and it's interesting to me, we talk about a lot about Republicans, and I'm always downing Republicans, but I
Me too.
did not, I did not realize that the amount of money that was being spent on Democratic lawmakers was so extreme that you have to go 16 members down in their Hall of Shame, which is the most money provided to the least money provided. Um, 16 down before you get to a Republican.
Oh, so Democrats are more corrupt than the Republicans.
Valerie Fauci, who is a U.S. representative for North Carolina, 4th Congressional District, received $2.8 million in donations from this political action committee.
Hmm.
George Latimer, a representative, he is the worst one. He's a representative out of New York for New York 16, Democrat, $19.1 million
Jesus Christ.
was donated to his campaign. So, I mean, when you look at it, listen, I am not pro-Republican and I am not pro-Democrat. I may be a newly registered Democrat, but that does not mean that I carry their water for them. I personally think that the political parties are the problem that is the cause of all of the other symptoms that we are facing here in the United States. I think that the political party system is a disease on the national system of government that we have in the United States.
Hmm.
And I think that it should be abolished. Now, someone asked me a while back, why do I think that our government, and I say a while back, but I think it was like 2 days ago. Why do I think, it feels like it was a while back, but why do I think that the American government is the best form of government? Why do I love our form of government? Well, I'll tell you this. First and foremost, it's durable, right? We can handle, our system can handle attacks from the inside and the outside and weather the storm. And in situations where we need to adjust the way that we work and the way our government operates, we have an amendment process. Like, it's built to grow with society. Its durability is found in its federated system. It is built and designed so that no one branch and no particular part of the federal government can officially and completely take control of the entire country writ large. The fact that we have state governments that are quasi autonomous and have the authority to do whatever the hell they want to within the confines of the Constitution is, chef's kiss, right? Because what that allows us to do, people talk, oh, well, other developed countries have national voter IDs. Well, no, we don't need that. We don't want that. We don't want any type of national anything. Because when you start to nationalize processes, you start to consolidate power. And we are a federated system. So the reason that I love the United States and the way that our government works is because we have built a system that is naturally inclined to distrust any type of power consolidation.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I go with this, and the reason that I think that one, we have the potential to weather the storm that is the autocratic tendencies of the Donald Trump administration.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we need, it's going to be required for us, the people, to take what is happening right now and to learn from it and to adjust for it. We
Mm-hmm.
have to pass an amendment to eliminate money out of politics so that we can't have these individuals with millions of dollars in office. We
No.
have to make sure that the American people are informed about what is going on. We have to make sure that the electorate has a comprehension of the way that their representatives are actually doing their job. And I'm not talking, you need to know about what Congress is passing and isn't passing, right? I don't care about that. What I need, what I want American people to do is I want American people to actually talk and know about what their representatives are doing, which is why this summer I'm hoping to roll out baseball cards so that you can actually have trading cards that you can pass around and be like, yeah, well, my congressman did this, blah, blah, blah. That's the hope, right? But something to make it fun and interesting. Do I think that Kalshi is the right answer, where you place bets on things? No, because that's just introducing more ways of having funding into our government and money
Right.
in our government. Um, so, long story short, when the archivist comes out, the hope is that the American people will have a tool that they can use to actually identify how their representative is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And because it is something that is built locally by us, and is not funded by anyone outside of us,
Mm-hmm.
I think that we have the potential to build something good. And it's not going to stop at Congress. It's going to continue beyond Congress. We're going to start looking at, once we get Congress tightened up, we're going to look into the executive branch, and we're going to pull all the executive orders, all the branch policy decisions, all the different offices and departments, and all the things that they're doing, and all the rules and regulations that they're pushing, and even the code of laws that exists. We're going to bring all of that into one place so that users can actually access it. And once we're done with the executive branch, it's on to the judicial branch. And we're going to look at their decisions and their rulings and stuff like that. Which, by the way, the Supreme Court also issued a decision that said that the United States Postal Service cannot be sued or held liable for delayed mail, even if the United States Postal Service intentionally delayed the mail.
What?
Yep.
Why would they intentionally delay the mail?
Well,
That's a fucking question, Carl. Like, who goes, you know what? I'm just not going to deliver their mail today.
so there's concerns that the repercussions here is that the United States Postal Service, under the Trump administration, will identify mail-in ballots and will intentionally not include those in, or intentionally delay those so that they can't get counted on election day. There
Yeah.
is that concern, right? Nicholas Inslee, I do too. That's why I'm hoping that it's going to be something that's good.
What do
Thank you
you
for
say?
commenting.
What's his
Um,
comment? And where's he commenting on? Because I haven't.
yeah, so Nicholas Hensley, he's commenting on the YouTubers,
Oh, okay. Hello,
and he
YouTuber.
said that he liked the baseball card idea. He's the guy that I told you that was on your side in one of our discussions a while back. Nick and I will actually be meeting up on the 10th, so in 9 days, to discuss uh, the rise in and extension of executive power. So it should be a good conversation. That won't be live; it'll be a recorded show, but definitely be looking for that one as it comes out. Yeah. So eventually, the archivist will exist for the federal government, and then we'll take that same framework and apply it to each state government as we go. But folks, just understand that it is a
Work in
one,
progress.
maybe two-person fighting hole, and we're working, but it's going to be slow and steady that wins the race.
We're like the turtles.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so, with that being said, I think that is all we have for this week. We didn't cover nearly as much as I wanted to, just because of the fact that so much happened this week. This week that it's
This
just
week, there was a lot. There was a
it
lot
was
that happened.
it's overload. But next week, be ready to hear us talk about more that goes on. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit more clarification on what's going on with Iran. Um, and we'll be able to determine whether or not my prediction of us not putting boots on the ground is a valid and true prediction.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens there. Um, I hope we don't put boots on the ground. I really do.
I don't think we will. I think they were saying like what I was reading today is that, like Russia and China have not sent troops either, so it's kind of like they're staying out as well. So I think in the grand scheme of things, I think that they knew it was coming, it was going to come to a head at some point. It and they're like, "Yep, we saw this coming. It's happening." Did you just post something on there? Look at
I
you.
did. I did. I saw that I could do it, and I was like, "Oh, look at this! I can do this."
Carl, you and technology are winning.
I am learning how to do this thing. But without further ado, folks, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again this time next week.
Yep. Have a great week, little week, guys.
All right.
Lord.
Bye.
Bye.